Hi, my name is Jen Reddish. I am a registered master therapeutic counselor from The Essence of You. And today I'm going to be guiding you through some tools for a nervous system reset. This is a workshop that is going to be full of lots of different strategies, and I'm going to help you to understand more about how your nervous system works, why it's important that we go into different states of dysregulation, and how to get back into that space of feeling like calm and connected in your body. So the reason why I'm sharing this workshop with you is because I feel like these are actually like basic skills that everybody could benefit from. And I really want to have this as an offering for my clients to come to anytime that they're needing a little bit of guidance. It's something you can come back to again and again. And also just to like learn these skills that can help you in daily life when you're feeling triggered. And really my goal in this particular offering that I'm recording today is to not only give you tools to use in the moment when you're feeling triggered, activated, or dysregulated, but also some tools to help you to really work on rewiring your nervous system and creating more safety in your body and within your whole internal system so that when these triggers come in the future, you don't have the same experience and you can get back to that feeling of safety more quickly, more often, and actually begin to invite some healing into those original like triggered wounds in the first place. So I'm going to share a slideshow with you that I put together. Please make sure to download the handout that is available for you so you can follow along. I'd encourage you to pause this workshop often to do the exercises as I'm sharing them. And even consider not doing this all at once. Consider doing like a part of it, learning a skill, doing a little bit of journaling and practicing that skill for a few days and coming back, maybe going back and forth a little bit so that you can actually like look at learning, applying, integrating before trying the next one. And like anything else, different things work for different people. And I really want to encourage you to take what you like from this workshop and leave the rest. Try some of these activities and see what really resonates with you as a unique person with your unique needs. And the ones that don't, just leave them over there. Not everything is going to work for everybody. So pay attention to your own unique needs, what works best for you, and do those. So you really want to look at what is the fastest way back into safety? What is the fastest way back into regulation within your nervous system? And those are the tools to come back to again and again. If you are a parent, I'd encourage you to look at these skills and think about which one of these do you want to actually share with your children. You know, by like role modeling alone, it's going to be really powerful for your children seeing you do this. And also, even on a subconscious level, your children are going to benefit from you having a regulated nervous system. And that's what co-regulation is all about. Our nervous systems are always in interaction with each other without us even noticing it. And also consider that people say that each house has one nervous system, and your nervous system is really going to be guided by the mother in the house. So you matter so much, and when you're okay, you are going to help everyone to be okay just by having your nervous system feeling regulated, calm, safe, and connected. It's always going to have a ripple effect out into everyone around you. So take your time. Take what you like from this, and I would love to hear your feedback. If you benefit from this, if you find it helpful, I'd love to hear from you. All right, let's get started on the nervous system reset workshop. So this workshop is going to take you through lots of different strategies for a quick nervous system reset. And I'd like to encourage you to experiment and try the different strategies and see what works best for you, because we are all very unique in our own individual needs. And one thing that works for one person will not necessarily work for another. So like with anything else, take what you like from this and leave the rest. And I'm also going to be teaching you about your nervous system itself, why it's really important to like have gratitude for your nervous system and for the different triggered parts of you when you do go into different states. Because some people think that the goal is to always be regulated, and it's not. We don't always want to be regulated. It is a good thing. It's a sign of a healthy nervous system when we go into different states of regulation and dysregulation. And the most important thing is to understand how your nervous system works and how to support yourself to come back into a state of regulation, but not to stay there. So I want to recommend that you grab a pen and paper, take some notes, really write down the things that align with you, the things that you feel like are going to help you the most in your own personal life with your own personal circumstances. And I'd encourage you to pause this workshop as we go through so that you can really take some time to integrate all of it. You can come back to this as many times as you want to, and let me know if you have any questions as we go through it. So I really want to invite you to consider that everything in this workshop is completely optional. This workshop is not a replacement for therapy. So if you're feeling like you need some extra support, or if you become dysregulated at any point in this, then pause and get some support from whoever you need to. And make sure that you're listening to your body. Make sure that you're practicing what feels supportive for you in your body, and go at a pace that feels right for you. Your body always knows how much it can handle. And when you move faster than your system wants you to, you actually stay stuck. When you move at a pace that feels safe for your system, you invite yourself to move forward. So consider that your nervous system is always responding in every situation in your life. And a nervous system reset is essential to every aspect of your life. We all get triggered throughout the day, every day, in different ways, sometimes in big ways, sometimes in small ways. We get triggered in relationships, with work, with our children, and in small everyday moments. So learning to come back to your self energy, learning to come back into a space of regulation as well, can create safety in your body and give you power to really be your authentic self and lead from that space of confidence instead of being led by these triggered parts of yourself when you do become dysregulated. So we're going to be covering 6 steps to a nervous system reset that leave you feeling empowered in the moment and that create long-lasting changes for your entire system. So when we look at these 6 steps, one of the steps is the grounding strategies itself. And there are many, many grounding strategies that I'm sharing with you here. So you might want to create even like your own 6-step system with the grounding strategies that really resonate with you that I share here today. So remember that these tools are for reflection and practice, and always listen to your own inner knowing and honor what is best for you and your unique system. So let's talk a little bit about how your nervous system works. So we're going to be referencing to polyvagal theory, which was developed by Dr. Stephen Porges. If you're interested in learning more about this, then look it up. This diagram here is an image from Deb Dana, who's done a lot of work with Dr. Stephen Porges, and she has a lot of great resources for supporting your nervous system. So really keep in mind that your nervous system is not failing you. You're not failing. Your body isn't failing when you become triggered. It's actually your nervous system working in service of survival for you. So consider that your brain is going to be responding really quickly to the stimuli in your environment and sending a message to your nervous system when anything feels threatening or dangerous, and that is perceived threat. So it doesn't matter if it rationally makes sense or not. It's anything that your body is registering as a perceived threat, your nervous system is going to respond for you. This is a really good thing, especially if, for example, you were to have an encounter with something that was actually dangerous. Your nervous system would become dysregulated, and you would be able to go into that fight or flight response to either fight off whatever's dangerous or run away from it. And you would have the capacity to do that. Or if your nervous system deems that threat as you would not be able to fight it off or not be able to run away, then that's when you get into that freeze response. And this helps you to stay alive ultimately, which is a really good thing. Now, when we look at our day-to-day triggers and we can rationally step back and be like, this isn't life-threatening. Why am I getting so worked up about this? Just remember that your nervous system is not going to be differentiating between something that is perceived threat or a real threat. It's not going to be differentiating between an emotional threat or a physical threat. So you really want to learn more about how to support your nervous system with a lot of gratitude that it's always fluctuating and working to protect you and to serve you. So you want to invite communication with your nervous system. You want to invite communication with your body. You want to invite communication with the parts of yourself within that become triggered in different scenarios. So when people talk about being grounded or regulated, that's when your ventral vagus is activated. And when that is the case, that's when you feel safe, you feel connected to others in the greater world, you feel calm, grounded, open, receptive. So that's where you want to learn how to come back to quickly. When we talk about a nervous system reset, we are going to be talking about coming back into that space of regulation in your ventral vagus. And we'll be talking about different strategies of how to do that in this workshop today. When your sympathetic branch is activated, that's when you're in that fight or flight response. So think about like high anxiety, intense feelings of anger or rage. So that's when your system feels like activated, tense, overwhelmed. And your dorsal vagal, so that's when you feel shut down, frozen, like that freeze response. You might feel numb, disconnected, overwhelmed in more of like a shut down, disconnected way. So like I said, your goal is not to avoid activation. We're not trying to avoid being triggered. That's not possible. But you want to build the capacity to come back to safety in your body, come back to safety in your nervous system more quickly and more compassionately. So when you are looking at supporting your nervous system, you want to be able to expand what's called your window of tolerance. And what that means is your ability to come back into a space of feeling present, even when you're triggered. You can be in that space of being able to respond to something going on instead of reacting. You want to be able to access that calm, grounded, empowered self energy when there's something that feels threatening in your environment. So when we've had a lot of trauma in our lives, and that can be in any regard, whether you're talking about incidental trauma or big traumatic incidents, or maybe like developmental ongoing trauma, which we've all had, our window of tolerance is going to get smaller and smaller the more trauma we have experienced in our lives. And so that means that our ability to respond, our ability to come back into that space of regulation is smaller. And our tendency to react into that fight or flight response or into that freeze response becomes much greater because our window of tolerance is so small. So when we're looking at healing our nervous system and expanding that window of tolerance, we want to learn how to we want to try to teach our nervous system like that we can be safe even when there is a threat in our environment. So you're expanding that window of tolerance. So something feels threatening, we're able to expand our tolerance for those uncomfortable situations and come back into that space of regulation faster, not get triggered into those intense reactions so quickly. So when we are within that window of tolerance, you're able to come back into that space of regulation, or maybe not get so dysregulated in the first place. That's when you're able to think clearly, feel your emotions, respond effectively to the different circumstances in your life. And ultimately, what we want to do in this workshop and support you with going forward is to build resilience that lasts beyond the moment, and increasing your capacity to navigate your life with ease and safety, like one nervous system reset at a time. And think about every single time that you do practice a nervous system reset really conscientiously, that you are expanding your window of tolerance. You're inviting feelings of safety and connection into your brain, body, into your nervous system. Every time you're working on this, it's going to help to expand that window of tolerance for you. So step one is to notice. Awareness comes before change. And sometimes we have to actually stay in that awareness for a really long time before we're able to implement the changes. So, see if you can practice pausing and acknowledging what's happening with mindfulness. And true mindfulness is noticing without judgment or criticism. And that's from a definition from a woman named Jan Chosen Bays. I really love how she talks about mindfulness is without judgment or criticism. We're just here now, we're paying attention. So pausing and saying, something in me feels activated right now. I'm noticing a part of me that feels maybe scared, angry, shut down, whatever it is, naming it. And this is going to be inviting curiosity instead of shame, helping you to separate from that automatic nervous system response. So I would encourage you to pause this workshop now and do a little bit of journaling to see, what are the things that commonly trigger me? What do I already know about myself? And remembering that awareness has to come before change. So if we can identify what the common triggers are for ourselves, we're going to be able to apply the strategies faster in the moment because we're already anticipating it. So think about certain people or certain relationships in your life, or a type of person or a type of relationship that commonly triggers you, past experiences or trauma reminders that get triggered for you in the moment. And that part is something that's going to come more as you work on developing your awareness, because you'll see just how often you get reminded of certain experiences. Think about environmental stress, like sensory stimulation, noise, crowds, clutter, things that really impact you on a sensory level. Fatigue, hunger, thinking about like basic needs not being met. Feeling out of control or under pressure is a really common trigger. Any conflict or tension, feeling unheard, invalidated, disrespected, dismissed, or when an unexpected change or uncertainty comes up. And honestly, even for some people who are more sensitive, even an expected or anticipated change can still be really triggering and hard on your nervous system. So when you can start to notice your triggers and early warning signs, subtle body sensations, emotions, or just different thought loops that you get into, that's when you can start to intervene before activation gets really escalated. So take some time to reflect on these triggers for yourself, and especially over the coming days and weeks. Just keep on doing some journaling and noticing, this is something that triggers me on a regular basis. Because the more you can notice that, you'll be able to apply the strategies quicker. So step 2, this is a really long step in this workshop. So take your time and pause as much as you need to practice the different strategies. So this is grounding. This is like, these are going to be the quick resets that we're talking about. So when your nervous system becomes dysregulated, your body shifts into a survival state, which again is like a great thing. It's your nervous system working. But you want to really be able to teach your body to become more comfortable with the triggering situations. So when you become dysregulated, activation in your prefrontal cortex actually becomes limited. And this is why you can't think your way out of anxiety, overwhelm, or feeling shut down. And, there's a saying like, you know better, you do better. And that's just not true, because when we're really triggered, even if we have that knowledge somewhere, we can't access it. So it's really important to be compassionate, practice self forgiveness. You're inviting that compassion inward. So you're practicing self compassion of like, oh, I knew that, but I just couldn't access it in that moment. I wonder what was going on for me that was so difficult that I wasn't even able to apply what I know. So really invite in that self-compassion, because it's just not always accessible. The information isn't always accessible. So grounding is the process of reestablishing a sense of physical and emotional safety in your body by returning your attention to your body, your breath, and the present moment. These practices work by interrupting the stress response, stabilizing your sensory input, lowers your physiological arousal in your body, helping your nervous system to shift back towards connection, clarity, and ultimately regulation. So just remember that a nervous system reset is not about eliminating stress. That's not possible, but it's about creating conditions for your system to transition out of that state of dysregulation and back into regulation. When you reset your nervous system, you're supporting a return to your regulated window of tolerance, and you're also expanding that window of tolerance each time. You're increasing access to higher level thinking and decision making, thinking about like access to that prefrontal cortex. You're inviting greater emotional flexibility, reduced physical tension and reactivity, and you're coming back into that space of safety and presence and connection. So we are going to talk about some strategies here. So practice them one at a time, see what works best for you. I really love doing this one. I do this a lot myself and I practice it with my kids. I often teach this one to my clients. It's the 5 senses reset. So right now would be a great time to practice it. So if you can just slow yourself down and name 5 things that you can see. I'm going to do this right now too. And remember, we're doing this with mindfulness without judgment or criticism. 4 things that you can touch. So you're just coming into contact with whatever is in your surroundings or your physical body. 3 things that you can hear, maybe even your own breath. The slower you do this, the better. Your nervous system likes slow. Slow helps us come back into regulation. And 2 things that you can smell. I really like going and like opening up my spice drawer if I'm at home, getting the cinnamon out, smelling that myself, or having my kids smell it. I almost always have a cup of tea, so smelling your tea can just be a really great way to engage your nervous system. Using essential oils. There's lots of different things you can do. Smell is actually one of the quickest ways that we can invite regulation into our body. And one thing that you can taste. So see if you can really plant your feet firmly on the ground. You want like grounding. We actually really want to bring our energy down. Anxiety is our energy up. Grounding, we want to bring our energy down. Notice your breath. Allow whatever sensations are present in your body to arise without resistance. This is another one of my favorites, orienting to safety, to really signal to your system that this moment is safe. I am safe in this moment. And actually inviting that internal dialogue can be really powerful. So right now, I'd encourage you to take a slow look around and identify anything in your environment that feels safe or neutral. I really like to invite like a really intentional look over your left shoulder, bringing your head up and down, gazing around side to side, slowly coming back to center, slowly coming over and looking over your right shoulder, looking up, down, side to side, bringing your gaze back to center again. And just paying attention to your body and what feels good. Bring your gaze up, moving your neck back, slowly coming back to center and all the way down, just in a way that feels supportive for your body, and back up again. If you were being chased by a bear, you wouldn't pause to slowly do those motions. So that's like one of the ways that we can really send a signal of safety into our nervous system. And saying to yourself, I am creating safety for all parts of myself. You're just really inviting that internal dialogue. This is really helping you to reinforce your ventral vagal activation and, again, widening your window of tolerance. In that moment, something triggering is happening. You're inviting slowness, coming back into your body. Maybe all of these are my favorite, but this is another one of my favorites. So nature regulation, there's really no better regulator for our nervous system than Mother Nature. And really thinking about like we are nature, we're a part of nature, and connecting with it helps us to come back into ourselves. And we can do this whether we are outside or whether we're inside, because we can always use on the power of our imagination if it's not accessible. So if it is possible to step outside, feel the quality of the air against your skin, feel the sunlight if the sun is out, feel the ground beneath your feet. Going barefoot outside can be really, really powerful if weather allows. And touching the earth with your bare hands can be really helpful, or going out and making contact with a tree, touching a tree with your bare hands, like letting your body be supported by leaning against a tree or hugging a tree. It's amazing how fast that helps us to regulate our nervous system. Again, inviting that quality of slowness by observing the ground, the trees, the foliage, the sky, the subtleties of the wind and how it's moving the leaves or the grass. Letting yourself scan the horizon and other natural patterns that occur when you're really paying attention outside. And listening to the subtle sounds of the wind, birds, or water, or whatever is accessible to you. If it's not accessible, then see if you can bring yourself there in your imagination. So maybe closing your eyes and imagining yourself in a natural setting that feels really calming and grounding for you. And both of these, either real or imagined, really help you to activate your neural pathways for safety, calm, and grounding. Even actually just looking outside can be really helpful because it can take you out of the triggering moment and help you to remember connection to the greater world. Diaphragmic breathing with a slow exhale is really, really helpful. So think about like where your diaphragm is. Your vagus nerve is actually right beneath that. And when you breathe into your diaphragm, you are pressing on your vagus nerve, helping to activate you into that space of regulation. So I really like to encourage people to consciously lengthen your spine, bring your shoulders down and back. And if you want to try bringing your hands to your sides, kind of like on either side of your rib cage, invite a really slow breath into your diaphragm. And you want to feel your rib cage expanding and contracting with your breath. Just really bringing your energy and focus to that area in your diaphragm there. Try inhaling for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for 4 seconds. 2, 3, 4. And exhale for maybe 6 or 8 seconds. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now would be a great time to pause the workshop again and practice that for as long as you need to until you are noticing an impact in your own nervous system. Visual and cognitive anchors. So you want to engage your brain to send signals of safety into your nervous system. So this is more of that mindful awareness that we talked about before, just simply naming colors, shapes, or textures in your surroundings. Like even right now, I could run my hand against my sweater and just notice how soft it feels, noticing the color that it is. Put my hands on my table here, notice the coolness and how that contrasts between the warmth of my arm and my sweater. Really letting yourself engage in the textures, what is in my surroundings. Counting different objects, noticing patterns, or even doing a simple organizing task just to help you to plant yourself in the moment. This helps your prefrontal cortex engagement and helps with interrupting the emotional flooding. Again, the slower, the better. So I wouldn't go speed through an organizing task, but think, could I organize something really slowly, paying attention to the textures, how it feels in my hands, how it feels in my body while staying engaged with those slow diaphragmic breaths. Movement and release. So you want to release residual stress from your body. It can be really, really helpful to engage in intentional movement, but the key here is inviting connection to your body instead of defaulting to disconnecting from your body with movement. I know a lot of people maybe intentionally or intentionally actually use exercise and movement to disconnect, which helps us to stay dysregulated. You want to invite connection to your body while you're moving and releasing. So thinking about like stretching, really respond to your body intuitively, swaying back and forth or side to side, rolling your shoulders front and back, and maybe shaking out your arms and legs. So you can invite a shake in your whole body. It can just be really helpful to come back into regulation because you're inviting a discharge of the energy that's stored in your body with your emotions. A bird just flew by. My dogs did not like that. So I'm actually going to take this as a moment to look at like what happens in your environment that brings you into regulation or dysregulation. And we can co-regulate with any mammal. So not just humans, but animals like dogs. And think about how they can help us to come into a state of regulation or dysregulation. So I know myself going through these grounding exercises, I felt really regulated in my body. Two of my dogs started barking, and I went into a dysregulated response really quickly because it's like, oh, they're barking. What's out there? My body was being alerted to danger. So even like noticing those subtle things in your environment, what invites that regulation, what invites dysregulation, and how can you come back faster? Um, if my dogs are calm, they definitely are a really, really great regulation tool for me. Just coming close, being with their calm energy is really regulating for my own body. So I'd encourage you to think about that for yourself too. Is who or what in your environment helps you to co-regulate, and what helps you to like co-dysregulate. Maybe if there's somebody that you call when you're upset, pay attention. Does this person actually help me to feel calm in my body? Am I co-regulating with them? Or do they escalate me further? So that's something really great to pay attention to, which we'll talk a little bit more later. So coming back to the movement or release, lowering your head below your knees while standing or laying down can be really helpful. Mindful walking, gentle, intuitive movement. So this allows your incomplete fight or flight activation to completely discharge. I'd really encourage you to play around with that, do different movements, and really see if you can respond intuitively in the moment. So like I was talking about before, co-regulation, really pay attention to like the people who co-regulate or co-dysregulate, and see if you can make really mindful choices around that to support yourself in the moment. Even the imagined presence of somebody can be really helpful too. So maybe there's a loved one that used to be like a really great co-regulator for you has passed away, or maybe they're just not answering their phone, and you can just imagine their presence and bring yourself into contact with their regulated, calm presence, and help that to become a co-regulating force for you. Even like gentle touch, a hand on your heart, stroking your arms, or touch with another person or a mammal to help you really bring in that co-regulation through that energy. And compassionate presence, like I said, you really want to invite signals of safety to your nervous system to amplify your self energy access. Bilateral stimulation can work really quickly. So you can't see me right now, but if you put your right hand on your right thigh, your left hand on your left thigh, invite a slowness with your breath and just slowly tap back and forth. This is a great one that can be really subtle, that you can do really anywhere, anytime. So this, especially paired with that diaphragmatic breathing, can be really supportive and really quickly calm you down. Butterfly taps on your shoulders. So see like where it feels good for you to touch. You can experiment there. But again, just inviting that gentle left, right tapping. This can actually be really helpful to do if you are trying to support your children to come back into a space of regulation, is to just come like close to them, whatever feels supportive for their bodies, and you just work on tapping yourself. Because when our children are activated, often we are as well. And the best thing that you can do is work on regulating your own nervous system, because that's going to invite that direct co-regulation with their nervous systems, even without us doing anything except for supporting ourselves. You can teach that to your kids too if you want to, or if they are open to you coming and tapping on their shoulders if you sit behind them. But really, your key focus is always supporting yourself first. Rhythmic walking can be really helpful to support that bilateral stimulation, to soothe the amygdala and support your emotional regulation really quickly. So pendulation between a resource and a sensation can be really helpful to just like really, this is a great strategy for expanding your window of tolerance. So right now, I'd encourage you to notice a difficult sensation, whether it's a different emotion or a physical sensation in your body. Just notice that. and then come to an opposite sensation that feels neutral or present or pleasant for you. And then you want to move your awareness back and forth to something difficult, to something pleasant or neutral. Difficult, something pleasant or neutral, and go back and forth. And this helps you with that, like titrating your activation, expanding your window of tolerance, inviting those messages to your body and brain. I am safe. I am safe. Environmental adjustments can really create a quick reset for you. So changing your surroundings to cue safety, stepping outside, or like I said before, just looking outside, opening a window just to get that fresh air, or even opening the freezer or the fridge, because a sudden temperature shift can really activate vagal regulation. You can run your hands under some cold water or grab an ice cube and put it on the back of your neck or the front of your neck. Can be really powerful for a quick reset too. And adjusting your sensory input or output. So maybe turning on some music if you have like a playlist that really helps you with grounding, or turning music off. Maybe if the TV is on, turning the TV off. I'm just paying attention to all of the sounds that are either supportive or unsupportive for you. Either brightening or dimming your lights, turning screens off, changing your visual field. Moving to a different room entirely can be really helpful, just to like snap you out of that dysregulated state really quickly. Creating physical distance from your triggers when possible. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of parents watching this workshop, and it's not always possible to get that distance from our children if our children are the ones who are creating the trigger for us. And so if that's the case, just think about like how you can keep everyone safe and really make your priority regulating yourself first, keeping your body safe, keeping everybody safe. Just really looking at expanding your visual field, reminding your system that there is more to this moment, and inviting a shift from with your tactile environment. So sitting in a different chair, go from sitting to standing, touching something in your environment, changing your posture. This helps to like really invite like a novelty with your sensory cues. It helps to break your cyclical activation and reinforces that the present moment is safe. So something really triggery is happening, but we can come into those moments in those tactile or environmental shifts. We're really inviting a message to our brain and our nervous system that we are safe in this moment. So it's really important when you think about grounding or a quick nervous system reset that it's not about eliminating feelings. It's about creating stability to be present with them. So I'm like, oh, I'm feeling really angry in this moment. I'm going to touch the table. I'm going to do the bilateral stimulation, and then I'm going to carry on. That's when we can do a Band-Aid, and then we're carrying on and we're not dealing with the issue. But ultimately, what we want to do to create long-term safety and long-term integration, when we want to invite that like rewiring of our nervous system, then we're grounding, we're doing these quick nervous system resets, and then we're coming back to it. So I'm really triggered. I'm going to fly off the handle. Oh, I'm going to use one of these nervous system reset strategies. So I'm going to practice diaphragmatic breathing, some tapping, looking outside. Oh, I'm feeling safe in my body. Okay, now I'm coming back to that situation that was really triggering for me, and I'm going to deal with it from this state of regulation. So I really like to pair these types of strategies with internal family systems work to really create that integration as you're acknowledging, validating, and welcoming the triggered parts of yourself that sent you into activation in the first place. So this leads us into step 3, naming the thought, emotion, and activated part. So I really like this dialectical behavior therapy strategy. It's a mindfulness strategy. Naming your thought, emotion, and physical sensation with an element of detachment really helps you to come into the present moment while staying connected to yourself. So you want to apply that like quick nervous system reset strategy and pair that with, I'm having a thought that I'm not safe. I'm thinking that I need to fix this immediately. Whatever the thought is you're having. I'm thinking I can't stand this. I'm thinking I can't take this anymore. Whatever the thought is, name it as a thought and don't follow that thought, because following the thought is likely going to lead you to further dysregulation. We want to just name the thought and come back to the moment. Really helps you to like unblend from that triggered part of you. So you also want to name the emotions from like an internal family systems approach. So part of me feels angry, sad, ashamed, scared, whatever it is. And it's okay to feel this way. Also resisting the temptation to maybe try to figure it out or analyze it. So I'm having this thought, I'm having this emotion, and it's okay. It's okay for me to be having that thought. It's okay for me to be feeling this feeling. You really want to welcome connection to the activated or triggered part of yourself, acknowledge its presence, and validate its experience. This is going to help to keep your nervous system regulated and strengthen your relationship with all aspects of yourself. Again, this also is a practice that expands your window of tolerance. So I can be here in this moment. I'm triggered. This triggered part of me is having this thought, having this emotion, and I can be with it. This helps me to stay in my self leadership. It helps me to stay in my self energy instead of having that dysregulated, triggered part of me take over. When you think about that, it's like, have you ever thought about another person or yourself like, oh, they're acting like a child? Or maybe I was acting like a child then. And this is what that is explaining here. So when a part of ourselves becomes activated or triggered, we're actually acting from the energy of that part. And perhaps that part of us feels really young. And when we can invite this like stillness and this presence with that activation, then we are allowing ourselves to come back into a regulated state. We're leading from our today's age self instead of leading from that younger triggered part of ourself. And like I said here, resist the urge to figure it all out. If it's important, you can always come back to that reflection later to expand your self-awareness. But in the moment, your priority is staying grounded, aware, and compassionate to help your nervous system naturally settle while maintaining connection to self-energy. The problem if we jump into figuring it out too soon is then we're actually just letting another part of ourselves take over, maybe like an analytical or an intellectual part of ourselves, and then we're up like in this activated energy figuring things out, and we're actually not being with the feeling. We're not being with the energy in that moment, which is what we need to do to be able to expand that window of tolerance and stay regulated in our nervous system. Step 4, locate. So you want to bring awareness into your body, inviting presence towards the emotions and activated parts of yourself. Find them in the body. So, okay, staying connected to your breath. Allow yourself to come into contact with sensations that are already naturally in your body and be present without resistance if you can. So this is going back to that DBT strategy. So we're naming the thought, we're naming the emotion, we're adding in an IFS approach by naming and being with the part of ourselves. And then we're coming into our body. Where does this thought take up energy in my body? Where does this feeling have energy in my body? Where does this triggered part of myself take up space in my body? We're going to be with our sensations, which again invites us to expand that capacity for tolerance for whatever the triggering event is. So this is really going to help your nervous system to naturally return to safety and balance when I can be present and tolerate the discomfort that is in my physical body. And if that becomes really overwhelming, then see if you can titrate it. So you want to have invite this experience for small amounts of time. So, oh no, being in my body is too unsafe. That's too overwhelming. Okay, so maybe first, I don't have to do this at all if it doesn't feel safe for me. Second, could I do it for maybe 10 seconds? How does that feel? Okay, let me try it for 10 seconds. Set a timer on your phone. Set that timer and see, can I be with the sensation for 10 seconds? Timer goes off. Check in. Can I tolerate that a little bit longer? And then keep on expanding that duration of time until it becomes more manageable for you to be with it for longer. This can be a really great strategy when you're locating it in your body to be with and then invite the release. Be with, invite, release. If being with feels too unsafe, then see if you can like invite that release first. See, does it feel okay to move my body? Does that shift my capacity to be with the sensations? But experiment and always do what feels right for you and your unique needs in your own system. So I said without resistance, but that's a little bit loaded because we can't always control when resistance comes up. And we definitely don't want to fight against the resistance because then it's going to become greater. So if you notice resistance arises, then be with that too, just in the same way that I was teaching you before. Be with the resistance, just like you're trying to be with the activation in any way. Invite presence towards the resistance instead of trying to push past it. So inviting presence, being like, I wonder why a part of me is feeling resistance to this. Ultimately, your whole system is always working in service of survival. And if resistance is coming, it's probably because there's something within you that feels like being with the sensation isn't safe. So that's when you really want to work on the titration, reminding yourself that everything is optional. You can stop at any time and don't go faster than you can. So being with what is present, even tension or even resistance, is really central to integration and long-term regulation. You can't create safety in your body if you're pushing past and pushing up like more resistance against the things that are actually trying to protect you. When you think about your nervous system responding to keep you safe, it really helps you to shift your perspective of how to support yourself in the moment. So everything becomes about creating safety instead of just being calm. Step 5, validate. You want to offer self-compassion acceptance without fixing, judging, or dismissing. Again, just reminding you there's nothing wrong with you. You're not failing. Being reactive or shutting down is not a failure. It's your nervous system working the only way it knows how. And this right now is an opportunity for you to be with it and invite a gradual change that's going to create safety in your body in a new way that's more sustainable for you. So I really personally believe that this grounding and nervous system reset work is most effective when paired with that internal family systems approach. Like I said before, really acknowledging the part of you that's triggered, validating its experience and its attempts to protect you. So even if we notice that resistance, there's a part of me feeling really resistance right now. How can I invite presence with it? How can I be with this resistance? Be curious and offer compassion. Like, thank you for trying to protect me. I know that you're trying to keep me safe. Thank you for working so hard for me. You're really working on this internal dialogue to create safety in your body. Every time you do this, you're inviting connection into the here and now. You're letting yourself be with what is becoming activated within your system. And this actually, like this idea of tending to the activated part of you, it's creating long-term safety and like real nervous system rewiring. Because every time that I do that and I invite this presence, acknowledgement, and validation with the triggered part of me, I'm teaching that part of me that it's safe for it to be with me. And I'm teaching it that it can trust me. And the more it can trust me to be present with it, the more it can trust me to be tolerant of whatever its experience is, it's going to actually allow me to lead more often from my grounded self energy instead of it thinking it has to manage my situations and lead from that dysregulated state. So when we skip past that part of being with, we're actually just doing that band-aid approach. So that's when we're going to notice it's like really helpful temporarily. Wow, that deep breath really helped me be calm. But then I'm going to get activated again. I'm going to be flying off the handle again. I have to band-aid, band-aid, band-aid all the time if I'm not doing that deeper internal work to create the rewiring, to create the shift in the way that my whole internal system operates. So the goal here is to reset your nervous system and nurture the part of you that needs care, which creates that lasting safety and resilience in your system. This is really the work that's going to expand that window of tolerance for you. And step 6, return. So you want to move forward, staying connected with your self energy. As you work on acknowledging, validating, and tending to those triggered parts within you, you're creating safe for your natural self energy to emerge, which is the calm, grounded, compassionate presence within you. So how you know you're in self energy is a really quick way to kind of find out, like, am I in self energy right now? Am I not? Is check in and think, how do I feel towards the different parts of myself? If I'm feeling compassionate and welcoming of all triggered parts of myself, even the like undesirable ones, then that's a pretty good sign that you are in self energy. If I'm feeling like, oh, I hate this part of myself, I wish I wouldn't have done that, then I know I'm actually activated into a different part of myself. So some other signs that you are in self energy is that your breath will deepen and become steady. You're really inviting that like regulated energy into your body when you're in self energy. Your body will probably soften, tension will ease, you'll feel safe, present, connected to the greater world. Curiosity and compassion will replace judgment and criticism. You will experience more warmth, compassion, and a sense of understanding. And from here, you're really inviting your parts inside of yourself to safety. So you want to be asking these questions internally. What does this part of me need to feel supported right now? Resist the urge to like intellectualize and think of that answer and see instead if you can offer like a voice to that part itself. What do you need to feel supported right now? Let that answer come. And can I remind this part that it's not alone and I am here? So you're really inviting a relationship building between yourself and that triggered part of you. So returning to self energy creates lasting internal safety and resilience, which supports nervous system regulation in the moment and that long term trust with the parts of yourself. Integration and ongoing practice. So remember that healing isn't about preventing triggers, but it's about building a trusting, compassionate relationship with your whole system, with your nervous system, with this internal system of all these different parts of yourself. A relationship with your emotions, with your body. You're really inviting this sense of wholeness from the inside out. When activation arises, you want to invite a clear, repeatable process to respond rather than reacting. So I'd like to encourage you to pause now and come up with your own personalized reset sequence. So first, I'd encourage you to notice a part of me feels triggered. Step 2, ground. So think about maybe making your own list from the things I've suggested here in this workshop. What are your go-tos, your own personalized resets, your own personalized grounding strategies to use in the moment really quickly? It doesn't have to take more than a few minutes or maybe even a minute or less to help you to anchor in your body and senses and their goals, connecting to the here and now, creating safety in the moment. 3, name it. Identify the thought, emotion, activated part. 4, locate it. Sense where those feelings or sensations are in your body and experiment with that titration to be with the sensations to create safety when you can. 5, validate. You're offering self-compassion and acceptance without fixing, judging, dismissing. You're really inviting that presence with the activated parts of yourself. And 6, returning, reconnecting with self-energy, integrating the experience. Ultimately, all of these steps, as you do them, are going to be inviting connection to your self-energy, like bit by bit. So consistent practice is really going to strengthen your nervous system, increase your window of tolerance, and deepen your connection to all parts of yourself, really creating that long-term ability to come back into that space of regulation faster and create that lasting resilience. So I just have a few reflection prompts here. I'd encourage you to pause the workshop again and do some journaling to help you to increase your awareness about yourself and see how you can support yourself best in the moment when you need a reset. So just remember, you don't want to erase discomfort. You want to expand your capacity to stay connected through discomfort. We're really inviting this long-term rewiring of your nervous system towards safety, connection, and wholeness. Thank you so much for joining me for this workshop. I hope it was helpful for you. This workshop is really great paired with my communication skills workshop and with my other recorded workshops that I have available. So if you're interested in learning more, make sure to check out my website and see some of my other workshops. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and connect with me. And if you liked this approach of that creating wholeness from like this approach of the nervous system reset, supporting your nervous system, creating those long-term changes by connecting to your internal family system within, make sure to check out some of my upcoming events. I weave the IFS work into almost all of the sessions that I offer, and I really love supporting my clients to come into connection with their self energy so they can really awaken their leadership energy, become self-led in all of their interactions in their lives, and really feel empowered as their authentic, grounded selves, so like the essence of who you are. So thanks again, and make sure to reach out if you have any questions.